you all once more. And it's so inspiring to see young, energetic boys, or gentlemen, I should say, as the moderator for Dhamma Friends of Israel. And Adul Inshallah, speaking of all the very energetic young men, one after the other, David, Tom, and Tomer. Okay, thank you all. So as always, we will do a setting a proper motivation. Finally, the point is that the purpose is to seek the real meaning of a life. And the real meaning, in essence, if you ask anybody in the world, any sensible person, particularly the awakened, enlightened beings, like Buddha Shakyamuni, Jesus Christ, Mahavir, and Ram, Abraham, or the Prophet Muhammad, you just ask to any of these beings, they will say that the whole purpose is to eliminate your fear and expand your ultimate happiness in ways of embracing to all the sentient beings as much as possible. So this is the idea. So these require trainings. For example, even for us to learn a language, to learn a foreign language, we need to be trained for so long. So the training of the mind, of course, requires a lot of training and the time factor. So with this in mind, let us turn to the screen sharing of the prayers. And meanwhile, let us set a proper motivation. First, to visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who really manifested these two goals in their full forms, fearlessness and infinite happiness. Let us just invoke them. They are our inspirations. And they're like your two parents when you are so vulnerable, age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your parents are there, but full of love, affection, and smile. And this is exactly how all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're looking at us. And as we become more pure, have start to get access to these Buddhist Bodhisattvas, then you'll realize, one. Number two, we may not reach to that level, but when you grow, your compassion grows, then you can feel that this is exactly what can be felt. So with this in mind, also visualize your two parents on the two sides, and some of you might have difficulty with your parents. It doesn't matter. The point is that we are trying to transcend the ordinary people's thinking. What demarcates ordinary people's thinking is that where the person is so weak, so easily fluctuated by the situations. So we try to transcend, we try to learn how to remain very stable, grounded, not being easily affected by external factors. For this matter, visualize your two parents on the two sides, and then alongside all your family members, including your children, your husband, your wife, all your family members, and everyone in your country and in the world and in the entire universe, all sentient beings around you. And it's all because if you through your growth in the wisdom that we are learning now and growth in the compassion, we can feel that everyone is like your own child, who are suffering terribly, all because of the ignorance, all because of lack of compassion there. So with this mind, just invoke the spirit that I'm to take care of all the beings, just for a few seconds. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken the seat of the perfection within each one of us. And maybe you are male or female, or from this country, that country, this religion, that religion. It doesn't matter. We all have the seat of perfection. Perfection where you'll be totally freed of miseries and have abundance, in fact, to the extent of infinity, the happiness. So this seed is to be activated. In the process, the seed of infinite compassion, infinite wisdom, and infinite power are to be activated. So just invoke the spirit that may this seed of perfection within me be awakened fully, that I be able to benefit myself and all the beings in its ultimate form. Okay, let's take a few seconds and meditate on this. Okay, good. With this mind, let's recite the following verses together. And teach for great compassion. You taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion. You taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion. You taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye joda zoge jonam la janjo bardo dane gyalsu che dage jinso gebe sonam ge dola penjere sangye rubare sho. Sangye joda zoge jonam la janjo bardo dane gyalsu che dage jinso gebe sonam ge dola penjere sangye rubare sho. Sangye joda zoge jonam la janjo bardo dane gyapso che dage jinso gebe so namge tola penjere sangye rubare sho. Independent origination. There is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification, complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths cause those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps Advaita expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you are my prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I demand a full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, we'll recite the mantra together 3 times, and that will be very helpful if we can remember the meanings. And I'm not too sure if I explained this before, the meaning. I think I explained it before. And remember the meanings and recite on a daily basis. This will have an incredible impact on your mind in ways to tackle the difficulties without complications, to make a life very easy. But in fact, from these meanings, our mind automatically from deep inside, there's going to be transformation taking place. And of course, by the fact of meanings, if you don't know the meanings, then reciting mantras, of course, the benefit is there, but it's going to be much less. Oh. ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light and non-composite. Such is the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the bundle of the Buddhas of the 3 times of your baby sins. The 4 seals of Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and subsistence. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dhamma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, Heart Sutta Mantra, page 48. Thank you. Okay, this mantra, now reciting this mantra should be like, again, for us as a wake-up call to say that, hey, you have to transform your mind. Till that point, if you don't transform your mind, we can't expect a sudden blessing where your miseries will come to an end, your happiness will be infinite. It will never happen. This should be the wake-up call for us by reciting mantra. I personally recite this mantra every day. And I don't seek any blessing from this, thinking that, okay, my mind will be transformed. No, I use this as a mirror, as a wake-up call. That, okay, Dorji, Tiyata, here is this. Gade, go. Are you going from the suffering to the happiness? Your mind, is it going from ignorance to the wisdom? Your mind, is it going from the selfishness to the compassion? Is it happening? Say, with people that you encounter with, so how did you react to them? Compassionately, or mechanically, professionally, or out of selfishness? So how do you react? This is what I use as an index to see whether I'm growing. So this is real Dharma. If that happens, that's guaranteed that this will make you say, at times when you are at times when you see that, oh, I'm reciting this mantra every day, but look, my mind is not really transforming. It's been already like, let's say the few weeks, few months, few years, many years, still my mind is just the same. Then it is at times it's becoming even worse. When these things hit you, then you feel a sense of urgency. So that sense of urgency is that driving force you to be put into the proper track of the dharma, which is so precious. Only if when you use these mantras, not like the superficial blessings, but as a blessing in the form of a reminder for us, wake up call for us, and to create a sense of urgency within us that I'm not being transformed. I'm not again transformed. If I'm not transformed while I'm still healthy, while I'm still young, healthy, where my mind, where physically I am, the capable of eating my own food, going to get my things by myself, going to get the prayer books myself, sit upright, when I can still do these things. If I don't transform, then when can I expect? Then when I am the bedridden fully, terminally ill in the bed, can I expect the transformation? Impossible. So then anytime it can happen to me, I really feel a sense of urgency. So this is the real blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We just think of the meaning. The meaning is very simple. Gade, gade, para gade. Go beyond, go utterly beyond and establish your enlightenment. And if it's just like the incantation of one word, blessed word, Buddha, and then you become enlightened, then no need of gade, gade, para gade. Make it very short, gade, bodhi, swaha. But it's not the case. So the point is that this is how we should use these mantras. Okay, within mind, let's say this together 5 times by remembering the meanings of the mantra, that I should upgrade myself, my mind, be transformed from the path of accumulation. First, from no path to the path, then path of accumulation, path of preparation, to the path of seeing, to the path of meditation, then eventually Buddhahood, for the benefit of all human sentient beings. And as you recite this, imagine that you are inspiring so many people, in fact, all the beings into this path, so that they can experience the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. In fact, I'm so inspired, I'm so happy to see that those people who are doing the Nalanda Master's course and Nalanda Diploma course from Tibet House, and I'm getting feedback from them that they inspire so many other people to study, to become more compassionate, to really go for something solid, the transformation, which is the wisdom. It's very inspiring to see that people, they are encouraging each other, supporting each other, and some of them, they form their own small education groups, study groups in their own small places, where people who are doing the Nalanda Master's course, Nalanda Diploma course, they come together, and then they also inspire others who may not be doing these courses, but who are interested, include them also. And then with the moment they meet, they talk about compassion, they talk about wisdom, they talk about transforming your own mind to awaken this Buddha nature. This is so, so meaningful. Okay, this should be the reminder of this mantra. So let's recite this together. Deata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgate Bodhiswa. Okay. This text, The Wisdom of Emptiness of Bodhisattva Shantideva, chapter 9 of Guided Bodhisattva's Way of Life, we see that the is about the wisdom. And again, a reminder for all of us that the what we seek is the fearlessness, or to get rid of all the miseries to the best we can, if possible, to get rid of all miseries. And if not, keep pushing the miseries away. And happiness, just see how we can grow in our happiness. And if possible, infinite happiness. If not in this life, at least keep expanding it, and with the blueprint of the infinite happiness and the total fearlessness, or no miseries. This is what we need to have. And for that matter, in a the gross blueprint or roadmap, the fearlessness, it's primarily it is driven by the wisdom of emptiness. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. But when will we have the wisdom of emptiness? When will we really get a very refined understanding of wisdom of emptiness? This is questionable. And then if that is the case, if we say to get the wisdom of emptiness, it requires a lot of extensive study and so forth. And then till that point, can't we really imagine having the state of fearlessness, or that our fears, stress, and the agitation subsides or is reduced? Answer is yes, of course, these are possible. I say the Buddha taught the 4 seals. All composite things impermanent. Of course, impermanent, it has gross level and a subtle level. Think of this more. So in fact, when I meet with people, in fact, I personally, say when I actually meditate on this, sometimes you don't really feel that direct effect. You may not feel that. Okay, it's like I did it because they're so precious, and if I don't do it, then I'll be deprived of this, so I do it. And the effect sometimes it can be felt way after hours, not like effect from becoming enlightened. No, don't expect that. Effect in terms of your emotional feelings, where you see the reality more closely. So with this in mind, all composite things impermanent and all contaminated. Where your mind is contaminated, we are bound to meet with miseries. And yet, these miseries have end. Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. All problems can be brought to an end, provided we put effort to bring an end to the cause of the suffering, that is ignorance. Okay, with this in mind, to some of my friends who I can see that they are more prone to anxiety, prone to stress, prone to agitation, and prone to shocks when they come across say some tragedies in life. When I see this prospect, then I tell them that okay, because if I tell them right from the beginning that okay, when these things can happen, that happens, you will be shocked, and then you'll be totally paranoid, and so if I say this, they'll be already shocked right from that beginning, right from that moment. So I don't say this. I just simply say that okay, it is so important for us, all of us, not only some people, all of us, to live to stabilize our mind, to see the reality more closely. All composite things impermanent. Say, believe it or not, each one of us, when you are below 10 years old, you have a circle of friends. Then when you are high school, another circle of friends. And then in your college, those friends from your childhood, they're all gone. And then you are in your workplace after the college. And out of, say, the 20, 30 people you know from the college, say 1 or 2 will remain in contact with you. Otherwise, they're all gone. A total new circle of people will come to you. And then by the time you're already age 30, 40, 50, the circle of friends is very different. How many agree with me, raise hands? Very good. So this is impermanence. We reflect on these impermanence. All composite things. This is, in fact, my veneration to the Buddha is not in ways that, sometimes, now that I'm aging means experience is all built up, experience also comes up. And when I think of the Buddha, I say, wow, not that, oh, you are enlightened one. No. Oh, that's amazing. Now I can see what you taught. That makes sense. You are extremely experienced person. Number 1, very sharp, very intelligent. And number 2, really experienced. What you taught is totally sensible, very experienced. Wow, that's amazing. Then my respect to the Buddha grows even more. Okay, this is how we should be doing. To see the Buddha's teachings as so practical. At the same time, we need the things to accomplish, to see the result, there are things to be done way ahead of time. Nobler the goals, more the time taking, which means that we should be foresighted, seeing the prospect of the miseries, acute tragedies. From now, while you're still healthy, while your family members are all intact, from now, prepare and to build the strength in your mind. All composite things impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. As long as my mind is influenced by self-grasping ignorance, the impermanent things is permanent. We were suffering as happiness, and the self-centered attitude and the self-grasping ignorance, and then my mind will never be free. It will always be under the influence of, say, the pains. This is what we need to reflect on. And you reflect on a daily basis, then over time, it's not going to be overnight, the transformation. Over time, you can feel that, okay, the earlier times, I see this I hear this news. If something like this happened to my family, I'll be totally disoriented. I'll be totally, be broken. I'll be totally lost and become hysterical, shocked, and disoriented. Oh no, now I'm into control. You could feel a transformation, but don't expect this transformation to happen automatically. We should be very realistic. And we can't expect these transformations taking place to us by going to a teacher and receiving. I don't know how popular that is in the Israeli Buddhists, or the people who follow Buddhism, who admires Buddhism. I don't know how popular that is. Go to a teacher, and then they let the teacher touch touch your head, and then they receive some word transmissions, and then you expect some transmission. It will never happen. It'll never happen. So this is where the teachings of Buddha is so practical and realistic. And look at His Holiness. If your mindset is so deeply imbued with blind faith, then if you ask, please, Your Holiness, please bless me, then you say, His Holiness, just to make you happy, His Holiness says, yes, don't worry, I'll bless you. I will pray for you. But if you're more realistic, then His Holiness said, study Bodhisattva Shantideva's text. Think of bodhicitta, think of wisdom emptiness. He will never say, I'll bless you. Don't worry, I'll save you. He will never say this. So this is where the Buddha's teachings is so practical. Okay, then we also need to have these things, all composite things are impermanent, saying the verses, and then reflection on meanings on daily basis will bring about a transformation in your mind. And then another thing that I'd like to share with you is that these are all from my little experience of many years of being into Dharma, that particularly more now recent times, like last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and so forth. One is that I think of my own life, and I just see what am I doing, and I get up, I do my prayers, I do my offering balls, and so forth. Then I do my prayers, I do my meditation, and then what am I doing? Okay, office work, right? Okay, the window should be like this. It's dirty here, and you have to buy the new flowers. There's old flowers every year, and no, the design of the mug, the souvenir mug should be like this. What am I doing? I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Okay, and then the staff. I already asked somebody to do something 2 days ago, and no report coming back. What happened? Okay, and then now the Nalanda Master's course, Nalanda Room course, the teaching, preparing for the teaching. And then some people, they send me, what's up, Geshe, how are you? I have these questions. And then I give the response. Then I see that overall speaking, say, responding to the what's the messages, people have some difficulties. Then giving some, consoling them. And then and then really thinking, not just reciting verses. Okay, I have to do the sadhanas, I have to do these, the daily commitments. I'm unable to complete that. What's the point, right? Actually thinking, may I become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings on the basis of these steps, these 7 steps, 9 steps, and then actually taking some time, and then meditating on emptiness. Then I realized that these moments, preparing for the classes, then interacting with the people, talking about inspiring other people, and listening to other people's questions, their grievances, their experiences. I see that these are the real gems. These are the droplets of the elixir. So, ocean happens only with the collection of the drops. And these are the drops. Drops are so precious. Otherwise, we can have the picture of the ocean. There is no ocean. Sometimes we get a picture of ocean, somebody says, oh, this is full enlightenment within a short period of time, you'll achieve this. What is the study? Nalanda studies. What is this? What is emptiness? Just waste of your time. Practice. Show your picture of the ocean. There's not ocean. And the drop is much more precious than the picture of the ocean. So the point is that creating Sangha members, being a part of a Sangha member, meaning that, say, in Israel, say those people who are part of the Israeli Dharma Friends of Israel, at the moment being headed by Shahala, and previously by so many people there, the Liorala and so forth. So coming together, even say the planning. Just imagine, say when Liorala was taking charge, then Shahala is taking charge. So how they communicate well ahead of time for this program. So all these efforts, these are implanting. These are the implanting of the virtuous seeds within the mind. So in other words, what I'm saying is that just see how much you can spend more time related to the Dharma. So that is a real accumulation of the drops of the elixir. So that is so precious. And discussion on emptiness, asking questions on emptiness. And so this is so precious. And finally, be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. this point. Be kind to yourself means, so finally, I say, what should you be doing? Be kind to yourself by making you experience a maximum happiness and to get rid of your miseries. And be wisely kind to yourself. How to make it happen? Embrace the proper causes of the happiness and push aside the causes of the sufferings, which the Buddha summarized by saying, commit no evils, accumulate as great wealth of virtues as possible, tame your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. It's so precious. Commit no evils. Just see to make sure that in our life, we try not to commit evils. No, we try not to, feel the disliking towards others. And once in a while, things can happen, but in your mind, okay, this happened. Sometimes particularly people come to abuse you or take advantage of you and so forth. How should we do? So there, never give into anger. Let us never give into anger. And they say, of course, sometimes we have to take appropriate measures to stop that, to stop the abuse, but by not giving into the anger. Then number 2, to expand your happiness, the Buddha said, accumulate as great wealth of virtues as possible. What is that virtue? The root of the virtue, the foundation virtue is compassion. Where the compassion is there, virtues automatically get accumulated. Compassion. So in whatever way you can be compassionate towards others, just express. In words, to say something nice, say it. In actions, you can do something nice, do it. At a possible without expectation return. These are so precious. Okay, then tame your mind. How to do these things? Say, to not accumulate, not to engage in evils, and to accumulate as great wealth of virtues. But tame your mind. It's all your activity of your mind. Tame your mind. How to tame this mind? Then it's not that, okay, finally, then this is what it should be doing, and the study is not so relevant, how to practice, that much, no. So the practice one part, the practice, there are so many levels. It is like the amateur person, a mechanic, or a very ordinary, the amateur mechanic versus an engineer who can design the jet, who can design the whole satellite. Ordinary mechanic cannot design a satellite. So we require the engineer. Likewise, say to become enlightened, to become Buddha, we need, let's say, the more and more sophisticated the mental training. Tame your mind, train your mind. For this matter, the study of emptiness, study of bodhicitta. This is so important. And as you do more study, more reflection, more meditation, then you realize that our mind, there's a basic change in your thinking pattern of your mind. Where earlier, small things can easily feel irritated, and you be mindful of the mantra, Yedharma mantra, and how to, oh no, I should not be angry. So you are forcing yourself not to be angry. Now, after expansive studies, reflection, meditation, you don't have to force. It naturally happens within you. Then your mind becomes very relaxed, ease, like the mother's mind, where the two children, the two siblings, they are fighting. And in the mother's mind, mother will not be angry. Of course, not all the mothers, the sensible mothers. They'll not become angry. They will have the two children under her own control to make sure that they don't fight, they become harmonious, and the mother will have no anger towards the two children. Instead, they love the two children exceptionally more. So this is how one will develop. This is the real blessings. This is the real transformation expected. This is the meaning of be wisely kind to yourself. Okay, with this in mind, we are doing the chapter on wisdom, perfection wisdom, and we're on stanza 100 now. Screen sharing. Okay, Tomer. Huh? Okay, thank you. Stanza 100. One, thank you. Okay. So thus far, what we have been studying is say finally to wake up. The most refined version of being wisely kind to yourself is to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. In other words, to discover the reality that everything is like a dream. So for that matter, how to discover that? How to discover that? There are two things. Say, the you as the dreamer and the what you dream, the dreamt, the contents of the dream, that is your object. And you as the dreamer, that's the subject. We have the subject and object. In fact, the object is created by your mind, the subject, and the subject lives in the illusory world of the dream. So this is what so in the dream, where all these miseries, anxiety, stress, a little bit of happiness here and there is all happening within this the dream world. So there's object and subject, the dream, contents of the dream, and the dreamer as a subject too. So with those two things, what happens is that we first, there are two ways of doing it. When these two things, the contents of the dream and the dreaming mind being deceived by the dream, by your own dream. So these two things come together, interact, then the sound, the effect is being felt. The effect, the vibration is being felt. Vibration in the form of sometimes the tension, stress, anxiety, and so forth is being felt. And the vibration, ignorance is always there. So for that matter, what is expected to be done is just to see how we can see that the objects that we're interacting with, they're like dream, number one. So that is the objects or the phenomena other than the person the dreaming person. That is the selflessness of phenomena. So you dissolve this. Then the other one, you are left with the dreamer, the dreaming person, the person who dreams, you as a person who dreams. Then you see that even the dreamer is in the bed, not, waking up, the interacting with the world. It's just what I see as the one who's waking up, and the being affected by all these things. Even that is also a dream. So the dreamer also dissolves. Now we see that of the two things, duality, first the object dissolves, object or the phenomena other than the person dissolves. That is the selflessness of phenomena dissolves. And then when you see the selflessness of the person, if the person also like dream dissolves, you are left with respect to your perception, you are left with nothing there. There's nothing which can affect you, which affects you, and nothing which is being affected. So all these agitation, sickness, aging, death, everything dissolves in this experience. Death means that illnesses, COVID-19, so forth, they affect me, and then I'm being affected. And then the hunger. Okay, usually I get this food on time. Today I do not get the food on time. So therefore, now I'm being affected. Okay, now the heat. Oh, it's so much of temperature, 40, 42, 43, 45 degrees centigrade. So much, I cannot bear it. I'm being affected. So there, we see that with respect to your mind, it is not that when you realize emptiness, your temperature drops. Don't expect this. Some people, this is the expectation people have. This is total naivety. Where with respect to you, the world will continue to operate the way it is. It's not that your realization will make the temperature of the Israel go down, or in the winter temperature of the Israel go up as you meditate emptiness. No, these are all total naivety. These are all the fairy tales. If people say that with your meditation emptiness, your temperature drops, outside temperature drops, these are all fairy tales. Okay, so the reality is that with respect to you, with respect to you. With respect to you, then your misery is all dissolved. With respect to you, with respect to your perception, the misery is dissolved. And then your mind is not affected. So finally, as I said, as we studied earlier, that affected means the feeling is generated, unpleasant feeling is generated. This unpleasant feeling is because of the cognitive thought process. Cognitive thought process, okay, COVID-19, okay, I'm not getting promotion. Okay, my business is going down. Oh, I'm getting sick. Oh, my family members becoming sick, and so forth. So these cognitive thought process, they give rise to unpleasant feeling in the air. This unpleasant feeling creates the disturbance of the mind. It affects the intention, which is the mental factor accompanying all the minds. So this intention is affected. It feels like running away. You cannot run away from it, and then this is disturbance. This is what is seen as anxiety, stress, anguish, and if it becomes chronic, can go into depression. Okay, so the point is that we have to see how we can the maneuver this mental factor of the intention. How to maneuver that? Maneuvering the feeling. If the feeling is pleasant, your intention will calm down because you like it. Because you like the feeling is very pleasant, and then you like it. So your mind does not really, ends up into running away from it. So the mind is at peace, intention is peace. So that is because of the pleasant feeling. And pleasant feeling is determined by the cognitive thought process, proper cognitive thought process. So what are you doing here? A study of this is changing the cognitive thought process. Where we see the dream as real, we are changing this cognitive thought process to see the dream as not real. Is empty real? The moment you see that, you wake up from the nightmare, you wake up and you realize that it was just a dream. You have now shifted the cognitive thought process from seeing the dream as real to the dream as dream, or the dream as empty being real. Instantly, the feeling is changed. Unpleasant feeling subsides, and then a feeling of the lightness comes to you. So this feeling, you like it, so you sigh relief. In the dream, you are running away. Now you wake up, you sigh relief, which means that I don't have to run. The mind, the mental factor of the intention, it calms down. So that is one which moves your mind. Okay, so with this mind, we are talking about the substance of phenomena and substance of person. And Bodhisattva Shantideva, they first explained the substance of person. That is done. Now we are doing the substance of phenomena. And substance of phenomena is done with the understanding of the four mindfulnesses. The mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the mind, and mindfulness of the phenomena. Four. Okay, if you really want to be wisely kind to yourself, we have to make sure that all these small technicalities that we are studying, they should not be missed. We make sure that these technicalities are with you on your fingertips. Mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of the phenomena. At least we must have these on our fingertips. Not just, okay, he taught of mindfulness of the body and so forth. There must be a mindfulness of the flower also, mindfulness of the table also. Don't try to just, you must be rich in the facts. Not just, okay, Buddhism is interesting. You don't really have to, exert any, the effort is easy. So, he taught of mindfulness of anything. No, four. Mindfulness of four. And once you have these four, then you can ask, why four? Why not five? Why not 10? This you can ask later. As of now, we have to have all these facts on our fingertips. Mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of the phenomena. And this meditation mindfulness also referred to as the satipatthana. Satipatthana in Pali. So this meditation is common to the Pali tradition and the Sanskrit tradition. Satipatthana, the four mindfulnesses. So what is common is one thing, and what is uncommon to the Sanskrit tradition. There are two things. The common one between the two, Sanskrit and Pali, or Theravada Buddhism and the Mahayana Buddhism, the common thing is the mindfulness of the body to be impure, mindfulness of the feeling to be unpleasant, mindfulness of the mind to be impermanent, and mindfulness of phenomena to be empty of the selfhood. And that is a common one. That is what both sides practice. Then what is unique to the Mahayana the teaching, or unique to the Bodhisattva path, is that all these fall to be seen in the light of the. So, for example, when we see the body as impure, then what happens? Then our attachment to the body subsides. Whereas if you see the body as like a dream, again our attachment subsides. So which is more powerful? Say, the body seen as impermanent, or the body seen as impure. Body seen as impure, yes, the attachment subsides, but then the other emotion, opposite of this emotion, attachment, can arise, aversion can arise. Whereas seeing the body as dreamlike, meaning it's just projection of my own mind, nothing really, there's a body there, then attachment subsides, but the side effect that the aversion arising will not happen. And even how the attachment subsides. So there, in the first case, seeing the body is impure, then if you meditate on this more and more, then when you see other people, there's a tendency that one can have a feeling of repulsion towards seeing the people. And if it goes to one extreme of seeing anybody who walks around you, you see them as really repulsive, so impure, then it can deter your practice of compassion. Practice of compassion embraces others, not reject. Now, because you see them as so impure, dirty, the tendency that you feel so repulsion towards them, and then you tend to push them. Okay, but for the ordinary people like us, it's very important that we have to reflect on the common practice of the mindfulness of the body to be impure. It's very important. We have to practice it so that our excessive attachment subsides. And then when that subsides, then we go to next suffering nature, then emptiness nature. This is how we have to progress along the path. Okay, this is how it should be done. So with this in mind, I'll say now what is being discussed here in the wisdom chapter is the 4 mindfulnesses, which is unique to the Mahayana practice, which means all the 4 things: the body as dreamlike, the feeling as dreamlike, the mind as dreamlike, and the phenomenon is dreamlike. So this is how that's explained. And why these 4 things then? If after all, are we not to view every phenomenon as a dreamlike? Yes, of course. But to every phenomena, how can we expect to meditate on the emptiness of every phenomena one by one? The number of the phenomena is just countless, infinite. So how can it possibly? It is not next to being impractical. So the point is that these 4, we see that the body is one thing. You attach to your own body, to others, and then the feelings, it boils down to the feelings. Then it boils down to your own mind. Finally, anchor of the feelings is your mind. And then finally, my mind, I. Okay, so we see that this is extremely skillful way. The 4 points are there, number-wise is very less, and it incorporates our own emotions. Somehow our emotions revolve around these 4 things. Okay, so at the moment what we are doing is we are on the mindfulness of the body done, mindfulness of the feeling, in the middle of the mindfulness of the feeling. We on stanza 100. It says, those produced before or after the feeling can remember and not experience the feeling. Okay, let's say the feeling. Okay. Nowadays with the gadget, say so you get the WhatsApp messages and all the advertisements that come, and believe it or not, they're mostly about the health hygiene is all mostly is about this. And then the shoppings are also there, but mostly we can see that is about the health, hygiene, peace of mind, and so forth. So there, this feeling is extremely important. Feeling to really make sure that our feeling does not transform into negative feeling, meaning unpleasant feeling. When one feels unpleasant, when the feeling becomes unpleasant, then this feeling, for example, let's say that somebody says unnice words towards you, and instantly your mind feels disturbed, and you don't, it's a very unpleasant feeling there. Just observe this. And whereas somebody says nice things to you, and really not just diplomatically or whatever ulterior motive, but with a very pure heart, says something nice to you, instantly you feel something very pleasant within you. Very pleasant feeling comes to you. And out of these two situations, when is there the greater likelihood that you become angry? For sure with the first one, not with the second one. So this is how the feelings must be safeguarded. That make sure that we don't let this feeling become disturbed or agitated. This is so important. And for that matter, we talk about the mindfulness of the feeling. So this feeling, and how Bodhisattva Shanideva is dealing with this. He's dealing with the mindfulness of the feeling from various angles. One, the feeling itself. Number two, the causes of the feeling. Then now is about the observer of the feeling. Observer of the feeling. Okay, what mind observes this feeling? In other words, what mind conceives, what mind experiences this feeling? Because there is a mind which experiences feeling. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling. Yes, there's a mind there. If this mind is there, and when feelings are experienced, and we see this objectively real, objectively unpleasant feeling, objectively pleasant feeling. This is what happens. Now the Bodhisattva Shanideva is challenging us that this is the wrong perception. Feelings are there, but feelings exist only subjectively, not objectively. The moment you see the feelings as objectively, then your mind reacts. For example, let's not forget this. One thing that I'm sure I shared with this group in the last class, in the previous part of the course, and now in this course as well, say, just think of the dream. Think of the dream. What happens? You put your head on the pillow, and then you start falling asleep. Okay, just see if you agree with me. You start to fall asleep, and then your mind, even whether you are aware of that or not, that's a different story. But just see the intellectually, yes, this is rationally, intellectually, yes, these are true, yes, this is exactly how it happens. Okay, just check with me. Okay, as you fall asleep, what happens is that your mind starts to create some visions. Okay. And these visions, in fact, that was many years ago, perhaps 20 years ago, when I was so keen on observing what the mind is, whether what I'm going through now is dream or not dream. It was at the peak of this analysis. It's very natural inquiry. So there, the falling asleep, then I was just looking at my own mind. And look at mind, and when I find it so difficult to fall asleep, and then at one point I came to discover as to whether or not I'm falling asleep. I came to discover that. Say when my mind is as fresh as the daytime, which means that no way, far away from falling asleep. Whereas the mind gradually becomes blank. Blank meaning the white screen comes. White screen comes. And then some like, the rainbow, not rainbow like the rainbow, like the rainbow color, like bluish, greenish, like the circle. Greenish circle, blue circle, big, bigger, becoming smaller, smaller, disappears. When this happens means now you're falling asleep. I'm so happy. Now I should not disturb this. Okay, now I'm falling asleep. You're awake. You know that you're falling asleep. And then everything becomes totally whitish blank. What is blank? Like a screen, white screen. And the screen becomes like then gradually becomes like a matted screen, matted, meaning rough screen. Rough screen means, okay, now not only that I fall asleep, not only that I fall asleep, now the dream is occurring. And this matted means rough. And from this rough, some parts of this roughness, they become more prominent. Prominent in the form of, nose, in the form of eyes, and I still keep observing it. And then it becomes a proper face. Still not the full body, just the face. And the face starts to talk to you. And still be aware that, okay, it's just a dream. Don't be foolish. Don't respond. It's not real. This is your dream. And this face starts to talk to you. And then you don't reply. And the face becomes so angry that you're not replying, you are just ignoring that, and started to use very abusive words towards you, and you become angry, you react. The moment you react, finish, you are sucked up in the dream, and then gone. Okay, so this is how what I observed many years ago. It was like, let's say the continuous process, the weeks, months experience. So what I'm saying is that now see if you agree with me. You fall asleep and then your mind, initially, it begins without dream. Dream meaning that the mind projects the dream. Step one. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Very good. Now, you project the dream, number one, step one. Step two, you are unaware that you're projecting the dream. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Step two. Very good. Because you are unaware, you see what you have projected as objectively real, not from the subject, as from the object. How many agree with me? Raise hands. Number three. Now, because that is objectively real, now it has some, with respect to your mind, the object has some degree of independence to provoke you. And then they say like a ghost chasing you, right? So the object, they comes to provoke you. That is number four. How many agree with me? Very good. Okay, because the object provokes you, you're provoked. You're provoked and you react. How many? And you run. And if it is weaker, you fight. And if it is the demon or the tiger lion, you run away. That is how you react. Raise hands. This is how our mind works in the sleep. Now, we see that this is how the dream occurs. This is how the dream occurs. So this is exactly what is happening in the world today. What we call as waking sleep, waking state. What is happening is that our mind projects things. Number one. For example, to put it simply, let's say, for information, This water, I said, no need of water today. And our program coordinator, she said that, Geshe, you need this for example. Okay, now you said, yeah. Okay, so this is so let's say that you are looking at it, you see this water. And the chemists, they look at it, they see this is H2O. And the physicists, they look at it, this is the electrons, protons, neutrons. And which of the three perceptions? They're all very divergent. Which of the three is correct? You will say all are correct. There are three divergent the perceptions. And for sure, from the same object, if 100% of the object, three divergent perceptions should not happen. So for sure, we come to see that when you, even this, what we say is water, 100% from the object, seen as 100% of the object, this is delusive. This is deceptive. So the point is that just think of that, and seeing somebody as a very good person, and another person, seeing the person as a very nasty person. Again, it's purely your projection. Pure projection. So with this in mind, first, you project. Number two, you are unaware that you're projecting it. Number three, that you believe that it is objectively real. Number four, the object provokes. Number five, you react. So look at this. Water is just your pure perception. You don't see these electrons, protons, neutrons, but you see this water. Those who see this as electrons, protons, neutrons will not see this water. How many agree with me? Raise your hands. Very good. Those who see this as electrons, bunch of atoms, they will not see this as water. Those who see this as water will not see a bunch of atoms, which means that there are two contrasts. There are two contrasting perceptions. And if the object does exist 100% from the object, then these two things should not, these two valid perceptions should not happen. So the point is that our mind projects as water. Then we are not aware that we are projecting it, number two. Number three, we see the object as objectively real. Number four, oh, this is the very hot season, I feel thirsty. Now the object provokes you. And then you react. You crave for this water. Okay. So this is how it works. Now with this, what I'm saying is that this mind, the feeling inside, even this feeling does exist. Pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, they all exist. But how they exist in ways of projection, not as objective real. So we observe this, the feeling, we observe, you observe it, yes, there's a mind which experiences this feeling. So what is experiences the feeling and the experiencer, the mind which experiences the feeling, there are two. If feeling is object, now the experiencer as the subject, there are two. With this, now Bodhisattva Shanideva is analyzing that where is this mind which experiences the feeling, which is the undeniable fact, at the same time believing that object real, seen as object real, that is a complication. So how to see that our perception is deceptive? Let's analyze the feeling and the feeler. Feeler meaning the mind which experiences the feeling. So these two, one is the object, one is the subject. So if these two object and subject, are these two simultaneous, or the feeling precedes, or the subject precedes the feeling? There are only three options. So the first, if you say that this the mind which feels, it precedes the feeling, it is before the feeling, then what is this mind seeing? Because the feeling is yet to come. What is this mind seeing? If it's the mind which should be experiencing the feeling, if it's before the feeling, what is this mind feeling? What is this mind experiencing? Is it experiencing the feeling or not? If you say yes, the feeling is yet to come. How is it experiencing it? No, it cannot be before. If it is after, then it is like, say, a person, one person in a room and another person outside. So there are two doors on the east and on the west. So the person inside the room, the moment the person A enters from the room from the eastern door, then the person B, okay, person B enters through the eastern door. The person A leaves the room from the western door. So person A has not seen person B, but in the room there's always somebody there. When the person B was missing, but person A was there. When the person A left, person B was there. So in the room there was always somebody there, which means that person A was followed by person B. But if you ask person B who was before you, no clue. Is my duty? My duty is the what? The daytime duty or the afternoon duty, and the morning duty left. So you did not even know who the morning duty was. But in the room, there was always somebody there. Which means that the two did not meet. Two did not really do it together. They are not together. They are different times. Because they're different times, so even the feelings first and the experience of the feeling come later, but they did not meet. So it is like person B not identifying person A. So therefore, even that is also not possible. If these two together, then the together means that the mind which experiences the feeling, this mind. So if these two together, then the feeling should be the one to give rise to the mind. Or let's say that, okay, the water is there, then I drink it, and then the thirst is quenched. Now my thirst which quenched, that's a result. And so this feeling should be the stimulus, the object of observation. So this should show, and the mind which experiences the feeling will grab at it and then say, okay, I'm feeling it. So whereas if these two are together, even then the feeling of these two simultaneous objects, they cannot be causally connected. If these two are not causally connected, they don't contribute to each other. If they don't contribute to each other, then the mind experiences the feeling. Well, what is that experiencing? So what is to experience must be causally there, not simultaneous. So again, it's not possible. So where is that mind which experiences the feeling? Then yes, there is a mind which undeniably experiences the feeling, but I cannot posit it. Before the feeling, not possible. After the feeling, not possible. Together, not possible. Where is it? And with this analysis, if you really feel mentally some form of unease coming to you, you are getting it. You are believing the feelings to be objectively real. That is challenged. So with this analysis, if the uneasy feeling comes to you, you are very fortunate. Okay, so with this in mind, let us read stanza 100. Those produced before or after the feeling, those produced meaning, I say the mind which is produced, mind as the experiencer of the feeling, if that is produced before or after the feeling, can remember the before means okay, tomorrow, right? So tomorrow is yet to come. I can speak about tomorrow. It's not that I'm experiencing tomorrow. So I'm just the thing of the tomorrow in advance. Tomorrow is yet to come. So I'm not experiencing tomorrow. Can remember and not experience that feeling. Then after, of course, it cannot experience, it simply remembers. In short, a feeling cannot experience itself meaning, and it cannot be experienced by something. So it's the same together. Together is also not possible. in the form of, say, for example, your mind, our mind, and the anybody who can tell me that when you feel they say sad, when you feel sad, or when you're thinking about, when you are actively thinking about Israel, you cannot actively think of India. How many agree with me? Simultaneously. Okay, why? Anybody, why? Can you give me the reason? This is very important. Anybody? Okay, Tenzin Dumala.
Geshe, because there is only one stream of mental consciousness at a time.
Okay, good, thank you. So the thing is that your mind, mental consciousness which thinks, it is only one at a time. For the people like us, for the Buddha, okay, it's different. For the people like us, the mind stream is only just one at a time. And you can think about India, you can think about Israel, you can think about France, Japan, so forth, they consecutively, but not simultaneously by the same mind. It cannot happen. Because the mind flows, mental consciousness flows one at a time. The stream of mental consciousness is one at a time. Okay. But this, now, the mental consciousness, if it's just one. So the feeling and the mind which experiences the feeling, they should be the one. If the mind experiencing the feeling, if it is not before, not after, it is there. It should be then. It should be there at the same time. The same time means it should be the feeling itself. It should not be a different mind. If that is the case, then earlier we rejected what is known as self-cognizant mind. In the previous course, the first half of the first part of this text, which we, not the text, the chapter, we did this rejection of self-cognizant mind. In other words, say the two minds together simultaneously, two minds together or the same mind, it cannot see itself. And this is the we have to bring from the what we've learned earlier. Okay. In short, a feeling cannot experience itself, and it cannot be experienced by something else either, meaning those before or those after. 101, as there's no truly existent one that feels, then feeling cannot truly exist. If there's no mind which feels, if you cannot possess the mind which feels a feeling, then how do you know the feeling exists? You have no clue as to how it exists. If you have no clue, feeling is something that you have to feel. And if you don't feel, it's not a feeling. As there's no truly existent one that feels, then feeling cannot truly exist. How can it induce harm? So if the feeling does not exist, then how can the feeling induce harm in you? The feeling of the fear, that causes your immunity to go down, your immunity to decrease. So how can it induce harm to the collection of the aggregates that lacks a true self? Meaning that the feeling doesn't exist truly, and even the self, the feeling in the first place, the feeling is non-existent. How can it cause harm to you? Number one. Number two, that you, where is this you, this self? It's just the bunch of atoms and the 5 aggregates. Where is the self? Okay, how many you are plus 20? Raise hands. Okay, Neeraj is younger than 20. Okay, 20 plus. 20 plus means that this body is a minimum 20 years old. This body. And this body, believe it or not. Okay. You all tell me who's younger? Let's say that me and let's say Anna, raise hand. Who's younger? She's much younger. When I finished my Geshe degree, she was just a teenager. We met when she was a teenager. She was age 18 or 19. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that, but although there's a huge age difference, the undeniable age difference, but the reality is that atoms which constitute this body, which is the old, and the atoms which constitute the Tensei body, these atoms, their age is same. How many agree with me? Raise hands. The age is same, right? When you go to the atoms, right? There's no atom in Tensei body which is younger than my atoms of the body. So if you look at it, it's very extremely interesting and quite scary also. Where is this, what do we call it? Young, the old? Where is this? All this concept doesn't make any sense. We are all, our bodies, all the bodies, the atoms which constitute the bodies. Somebody who's a toddler, a baby, the adolescent, young adult, and the middle-aged and the old, we are all the atoms are same age. They're all 15 billion years old. No one atom is younger than the other. They're all the same. And yet we can see that somebody's young, somebody's older. We can see this. Where is this? Where is this? If you explore, we cannot find it. Very scary. Extremely scary. And the young people, they ego that I'm young will diminish. Right? And the older, like us, who feel that, oh, we are old, even that feeling of the inferiorness will go down. Okay, no, we're all same, right? That's interesting. But undeniably, there's the phenomena. Oh, these are younger people, this is the older people. This phenomenon is there. Where is it? Besides the mental imputation, if you go to the objectively, nowhere you will see the phenomena of the old and the young. It all dissolves. This is very scary. So from these, we see that emptiness objectivity is very prominent, is very clear. Okay. Acceptance of phenomena relate in relation to the close placement of mindfulness of the mind. Now, the mindfulness of the body is done, mindfulness of the feelings done, next to the mindfulness of the mind. Stanza 102. A mind does not exist. Okay, now the mind. How many of you are very sure that sometimes you feel unhappy, sometimes you are feeling happy, or when you feel down? So, or cognitively, you are thinking of something. And the neuroscientists that cannot see, put you in the brain scanner machine, they will not see what you're thinking. They will see your brain waves. But you are 100% sure what you're thinking. How many agree with me, raise hands? This phenomena, which you are 100% sure of, which the neuroscientists cannot see, is your mind. It undeniably exists. It undeniably exists. This mind, which the neuroscientists can see, which you cannot see, is your brain. So this is the difference between the brain and the mind. Now, this mind which you have the first-hand experience, this mind, where does it exist? Yes, of course, we can, if the particularly this mind, say, on a loose sense, in a loose sense, yes, I'm happy, I'm not happy. Oh no, what happens? I cannot fall asleep. So my mind is, just so busy. Okay, so there you're talking about this mind. This is one way of seeing the mind. Another way of seeing the mind is actually employing the technique to observe your mind, known as the Mahamudra meditation, Dzogchen meditation, Mahamudra meditation, and a meditation of the union of clarity and the emptiness, and the union of bliss and emptiness. So there are these techniques which allows you to see your own mind. is your mind. So this mind that is, yes, this undeniably exists. This mind undeniably exists. And not only that it undeniably exists, this is the center. This is the core of the whole universe. For example, say all the countries, they have the medical facilities. They have the mental health, the centers. And they have the security, border securities. These are all to make sure that this mind of people, they are not disturbed. This mind is the center of everything. Yet, when you see this mind, we see this mind as so objectively real. That is deceptive. And how to see that is deceptive? Bodhisattva Shantideva employs reasonings, analysis to see that this mind seen as object real, that is deceptive. Stanza 102 reads, a mind does not exist in sense powers, in the 5 sense powers or in the 6 sense powers, and in forms. Let's say that eye consciousness is also mind. Say the eye consciousness seeing the flower. The flower is the object, and your sense, like the eyeglass, eye sense power. So, and the immediate preceding mind, these 3 come together, then eye consciousness seeing the flower comes into existence. Say, for example, you fall asleep, and somebody brings a flower to you, to your bed, and then you wake up. You wake up means now your eye sense power becomes active, and the flower is next to you, and your immediate preceding mind starts to be directed towards the flower. So these 3 factors, object, condition of the object, and the condition sense power, eye sense power, and the condition immediate preceding mind, these 3 come together, then the eye sense consciousness seeing the flower, oh, it's a flower. So the eye sense consciousness, the first moment of the eye sense consciousness seeing the flower arises. So this eye sense consciousness or the mind, this mind to see the flower, where is it? Is it in the flower? Or is it in the sense power? Or is it between the sense powers? It is between the flowers. Nowhere you will see this flower if you subject this mind to the ultimate analysis, towards the object. If you analyze this, you see that the mind cannot be traceable. The mind does not exist in sense powers, in forms and so on, nor in the space in between. The mind is not inside nor outside, nor can it be found anywhere else, meaning that this mind does exist, but that it does not exist objectively. When you subject the mind to analysis, objective analysis, you see that no way will the mind be found. Like say 50 years old person, say I'm 53 years old. 53 years old person, if you go into the atoms, you will never see that. Well, all the atoms, they are 15 billion years old. No one atom is 50 years old. No one atom. So we said you will never find that. That is because of you are subjecting the self person to the ultimate analysis. Since things don't exist ultimately or objectively, when you look for the objective reality, you will never find that. So likewise is the case for the mind. You don't find a mind like this. 103. Something that is not the body nor something else, the mind, not to be identified as a body, nor as something else when analyzed objectively, neither commingled with the body, no separate in any way, is not a truly existent thing at all. If you don't find, for example, let's say that I have 2 hands, and if you say that, okay, you have taken my watch in your hand, so I have 2 hands, just open the first hand, it's empty. Second hand is empty, which means that it does not exist in my hand. Likewise, if something does exist within my body, either it should be one with the body, to be identified as the body, or to be identified as different from the body. If both these fail, then you can say that it does not exist in the body. Something that is not the body, nor something else, neither commingled nor separate in any way, is not a truly existent thing at all. Not truly existent, not objectively real a thing at all. Because of that, sentient beings are released in natural nirvana. Natural nirvana means that we have suffering, but all the suffering is happening on the conventional level. On the ultimate level, there's no suffering. No suffering is nirvana. So all the sentient beings, in the ultimate sense, they are in the experience of, they are in the state of nirvana. In the conventional sense, the beings are in the state of miseries. Sentient beings are released in natural nirvana. 104. If the cognition of something exists prior to the object, okay, now the analysis done before, so this is the similar analysis now is much easier. Let's say that my eye consciousness seeing the flower, my eye consciousness or my mind related to my eye consciousness seeing the flower. If the cognition of something, if my eye consciousness cognizing the flower, something, the flower, exists prior to the object, if this the cognition, my eye consciousness seeing, cognizing the flower, it exists before the flower's here and before eye consciousness exists, then what is this eye consciousness seeing? Because it's in the flower? No, the flower is yet to come. So without the flower, how can you see it? Okay. So it says, if the cognition of something exists prior to the object of cognition, then on what does it focus to arise? So this cognition, what is it focusing on? Then on what does, and if a cognition and the object of cognition are similar, if these two are together, object, the flower, and the mind cognizing the flower, if these two are together, then this flower should be like a causal factor to give rise to the eye consciousness seeing the flower. And because they are simultaneous, these two are not causal. If these two are not causal, one cannot affect the other. If this cannot affect the other, then what's the point? Say, what is this seeing now? The mind, which is otherwise said to be seeing the flower, what is it seeing? Because the flower, that flower, which is simultaneous with that mind, is not serving as a cause, as a cooperative cause to let the mind see the flower. And if the cognition and the object of cognition are simultaneous, still on what does it focus to arise? Because to focus, objects to serve as the stimulus, as a causal stimulus to give rise to the mind seeing this object. So because these are simultaneous, it cannot serve as stimulus. And if cognition of object of cognition is simultaneous, on what does it focus to arise? 105. Yet if it occurs after, then no, it's not before, it's not simultaneous, it's after. Yet if it occurs after the object of cognition, then from what does cognition of it arise? Same. After means that by the time the cognition arises, object is gone. So it alone is left. So again, what it is perceiving? Okay, so again, we see that with this analysis, okay, if you feel that, okay, now I cannot possess the mind perceiving the flower, and then uneasy feeling comes to you, which means that don't worry, the flower will not disappear, the flower is there. The mind perceiving the flower also will not disappear, it is there. Only thing is that it is challenging your belief that the cognition is happening objectively. That is being challenged. While at the same time, you look at your body, you see that my body is made of heart, lungs, bone, and so forth. And all these are made of cells. And cells are made of, the cells are made of the nucleus, the cytoplasm, and so forth. The internal made of the internal made of molecules, which are made of atoms. And these atoms are 15 billion years old, which means I'm 15 billion years old. I thought I'm 20 years old. I thought I'm 30 years old. I'm 40 years. No, I'm 15 billion years old. Where is the 50 years old, person? Then you feel really, just lost. If that happens, it's not that you are 15 billion years old. You are not. Don't worry. You are. If you're 20, you're 20. If you're 30, you're 30. You're 40, 40. So what is this? that you cannot find this 40 years old, 50 years old person there in the body, in the atoms. You are analyzing the self objectively. Objectively, there's no such person. Objectively, even these 15 billion years old atoms, even they will not exist objectively. So the clash, the contradiction happens not with the fact that you are 20 years old, 30 years, 40 years old. The contradiction happens with your belief that this self exists as objectively. It contradicts with that. So in a way, it contradicts with your self-grasping ignorance. You meditate more on this, you do more analysis, you do more reflection and meditation. Over time, then you will see that the two basic questions. The first thing, do things exist? Answers yes. Second question, how do things exist? Second question is not analyzing whether or not things exist. We're only analyzing how do things exist, whether things exist objectively or subjectively. When you say objectively, then the contradictions arise. When you say subjectively, no contradiction. Because subjectively means you don't have to analyze objectively. Subjectively, everything is there. Okay. Next is the selfness of phenomena in relation to close placement of mindfulness of phenomena. Okay, now of the four mindfulnesses, now we are doing the last one, mindfulness of the phenomena. Okay, we'll stop here for a 1 hour break. We'll go, a 50 minutes break. 50 minutes break. We'll come back. Okay, see you again.
Thank you. See you in 50 minutes.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.